Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Syed Waqar Shah Kazmi and you're watching IJS Biology. The topic of today is pituitary gland. What is the gland? The gland is a structure which is present in the human body and which are specialized to release some secretions. These secretions are called hormones, and these hormones are transported through the blood and reaches to their target cells and bring internal and external changes. These glands combine to form the endocrine system of the human, which bring some very important changes in the body of human and help the human to adapt in the changing environment and to perform the different activities of life. So among these 20 glands, one of the very important glands is the pituitary gland. Where the gland is located? The gland is located at the forebrain with the help of a stalk which is called as infundibulum. Infundibulum is a structure which is composed of blood and the fibers of the neurosecretory cells. As soon as concerned with the size of the pituitary gland is about the pea grain size, and the weight of the pituitary gland is about 0.5 gram. We can divide the pituitary gland into three main lobes. The first one is anterior lobe, the second one is medial lobe, and the third one is posterior lobe. Starting with the anterior lobe is called as master gland. Why it is called master? Because it not only releases the very important secretions, but also regulate and influence the other secretions too. That's why it's called as a master gland. Anterior lobe releases six secretions. Starting with the first one. This is STH, called as somatotrophic hormone. Somatotrophic hormone, also called as growth hormone. It directly influences the growth and the development of the human body. The secretion is controlled by GHRF, and this is called growth hormone releasing factor. It can be inhibited, and this STH can be inhibited by a somatostatin hormone. And this somatostatin or inhibitory hormone is released from the hypothalamus. What is the role of the STH? I have told you it has a direct influence on the cell growth and cell division. So it controls the development process and the growth process. It stimulates the uptake of amino acids and help in the protein synthesis. The oversecretion and the undersecretions of this gland leads to the two abnormalities, which is called as dwarfism and gigantism. Starting with the first one, dwarfism. Dwarfism is due to the undersecretion of the STH hormone. Due to the undersecretion, the process of growth and development affected, and this leads to the short stature of the individual. Individual appear as a short stature, but it has normal IQ and organs size. The oversecretions leads to gigantism, which is extra release of the STH, and the person become extraordinary long. A condition, acromegaly, results. And what is acromegaly? That in this condition, the bone length become constant, do not increase, but the bone thickness start increasing. Beside it, a person has long jaws, abnormal hand and feet size, and large skull. The second secretion is the TSH, and TSH stands for thyroid stimulating hormones. It is released under the influence of TRF, which is a releasing factor. And what TSH perform, what is the function of the TSH? TSH release under the emergency situation. It stimulates the thyroid gland, and the thyroid gland release the hormone which is called as thyroxine. And when the thyroxine level increases, the level of TSH decreases. So the thyroxine and the TSH has a negative feedback with each other. The third hormone is ACTH, which is adrenocorticoid hormone. It releases under the influence of CRF factor, which is corticotrophic releasing factor. Its function: control the steroid level in the blood. It check the steroid level, and under the emergency situation, that such as heat, cold, infection, the steroid level increases, which affect adrenal glands to release the mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoids. The next secretion is gonadotrophic hormones. Gonadotrophic hormones are related to the sexual hormone of the human, and they may be the FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, which stimulate the follicle inside the ovary and help in the ovum formation. Luteinizing hormone, which is an important female hormone, help in ovulation. ICSH, interstitial cell stimulating hormone, help in the formation of sperm. And prolactin or LTH, prolactin hormone, is help in the ejaculation of milk. The next is the median lobe. Median lobe is comparatively reduced structure which appear as the membrane between the anterior and the posterior lobe. Its secretion is called as melanocyte stimulating hormone (MSH), and it control the complexion of the skin and the hair pigment. When it releases in excess, the person become darker in color, and when it releases in a low concentration, the color of the person become fair. When during the pregnancy, the level of the MSH become slightly high, and this leads to the darkening of the complexion. The next hormone is the posterior pituitary, and the next lobe is the posterior lobe. The posterior lobe, not glandular itself. It does not secrete any hormone, but it stimulates neurosecretory cells to release secretions. There are two secretions. I have given you the comparison between the two, that is ADH and the Oxytocin. ADH stands for antidiuretic hormone. It releases stimuli from the hypothalamus, and it also got the stimuli from the hypothalamus. Production during dehydration and decreased blood volume, or its oversecretion leads to decreased blood volume, and it releases during the pregnancy, help in the birth process, and during the milk ejaculation, because when the child sucks the mammary glands, the tubes or the ducts dilated, and dilation of duct leads to the secretion of milk. Now next is oversecretion leads to the concentrated urine, and urine which has less water, more salt, and the undersecretion leads to the diabetes insipidus, which is release of too much dilute urine. Frequent thirst is another indication of the undersecretion of ADH. Oxytocin undersecretion inhibit labor process, and during the nursing it does not dilate tube, hence low milk production results. Another, rupturing of uterine wall may be possible. So this is the pituitary hormones, pituitary glands, and now I'm quickly giving you summary of the whole topic, that the pituitary gland is a gland located at forebrain with the help of infundibulum. It has a size, pea grain size, of a weight of 0.5 gram, and it has 3 lobes: anterior lobe, median lobe, and the posterior lobe. Anterior lobe has 6 secretions. The first one is STS, Gonadotrophic Hormone, affect growth and development process directly. It has 2 abnormalities: oversecretion leads to gigantism, and the undersecretion leads to dwarfism. The TSH is a thyroid stimulating hormone, and it indirectly affect the release of thyroxine by stimulating the thyroid glands. ACTH is also affect indirectly, because it stimulates the adrenal glands to release the mineralocorticoid and the glucocorticoid. And the third one is gonadotrophic hormone. It affects reproductive hormones. Median lobe related to the melanophore stimulating hormone, which is which control the pigment of the skin and also the hair. And the posterior gland, which is not a glandula itself, but it secrete hormones, stimulate the neurosecretory cell to release secretions. 2 normal secretions: ADH, antidiuretic hormones, which is releases when there is a deficiency of water in the human body. ADH stimulate the absorption of water, and as a result of which the normal urine releases. But if it releases in excess, concentrated urine is produced, and if it releases in under secretion, leads to the diabetes insipidus, which is release of too much dilute urine. The next one is oxytocin, which is a birth hormone. It controls the labor process in pregnancy, its undersecretion leads to rupturing of wall. Oversecretion leads to the or undersecretion inhibit labor process, and during nursing process, if ducts do not dilate, the release of milk can affect it. So this is the whole summary of the hormone. I hope you understand this. If you have any problem, you can ask in feedback. Until the next video, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.